And Di is running Roy, who's 3 years and 6 months. He's by his own nip. And it looks like he's setting up for a left-handed outrun as well. So Roy will be running. Just getting him to see his sheep. And off he goes left-handed. As you can see, there is a fence there, so they've got to make sure that they don't kick out too much. And Di's gone left-handed with Roy. So as I said, he's by David Howells, his own nip, and out of Jill, who's owned by Rhiannon Jones. Di is a full-time farmer and dog trainer, and he's been competing on and off for 34 years. He came second place in the 2017 World Trial semi-final and 10th place in the final. He's been an 8 times Welsh team member. He has 6 dogs. Roy is 3.5-year-olds. And when a friend put his bitch to nip, he then chose Roy as a stud pup. Another friend reared him and started his training. And then David took him back when he was a year old. The sheep have set off from the lift down the fetch.
Slightly offline here. I think the dog at the top wasn't quick enough to get away, and there was a dog laying in the front, stood in the front, and it just affected the lift. But I think the judges will allow for that. He's picking up a nice pace now.
Yes, and it's slightly deceiving on the camera angle as well. Is that if they were to come straight through the middle of the gates down towards us, it'd be slightly offline for what the judges are looking at. So Di's got these sheep now coming down through the first obstacle on the fetch gate. Just a couple of flank commands to get that dog out, and here's the perspective of just down behind the handler and what he can see in the distance.
Which will be similar to what the judges see, which is because we're slightly to the right.
Yeah.
But the father of this dog, Nip, is a very successful breeder. There's a lot of young dogs in the country coming into the nurseries by Nip. But the farmers as well, aren't they? They work with a lot of sheep.
They do, and it's hard. It's a hard farm, Gatley Farm. It's a hard hill farm down there, just outside the valleys, around the valleys, and it's quite a high country, a hard place to farm and shepherd. And David and Lynn, they do a good job. They've got a good team of dogs between them.
That'll be his brother.
They travel around together around the trials, and they have a lot of success between them. So David now just turning the sheep. You can see his dogs are very, very workish in their way. They're plenty of pace, and they've got plenty of power as well. So he's turned and now started on the first leg of the drive up towards those gates, Mike.
Yeah, he's just got to be careful with this dog because there's a lot of engine under this bonnet with the look of it. He's just reining him in, doesn't want to upset the sheep. He's got a nice line. Trying to tuck the dog in, but keep him on that left-hand side if he can for a tight turn. There's a fair track run through here now where the sheep have dropped the long grass, so they should all follow one another, a bit like a Scalextrics. But if you upset them, you'll turn your car over. That's nice, he's going to hit the middle. Dog's on the right side for a tight turn.
Looks like he's making sure of that gate too. A lot of people have been going for tight turns and either bringing them back through.
Yes, I think if the dog had taken that one, he would have turned them inside the gate.
But a good start to the cross drive now as he's working his way across between the two lots of drive gates. As the camera pans out, you can see it is a long way from one gate to the other.
Yeah, big scopy field. We can't even, there's the cross drive gates. This is a nice pace, though. Good working pace for an international. You want to be taking your sheep round, not following them. Judges will be looking for that as well as lines.
Yes, David Howells now then just coming to the end of the cross drive, bringing those sheep towards those second drive gates.
Dog just looking back a little. Young dog. Quite a distance for him to go.
You know, it is a long way, but when you think, when I know where these guys farm, and when they're sending those dogs up their hills, that's a long distance as well. So this dog would be used to doing a lot of work, good hill work and farm work.
Yes, I think he was just turning his head to listen to make sure that he was getting the right whistles from Di. Better than blundering on and missing altogether. Nice pace to come back into the ring here. Handler mustn't get off the podium and walk into that ring before the first sheep arrives.
Paddy and I were saying this morning that it's the third leg of the drive, that they're judged all the way back to that shedding ring as well.
Yes, well, when I'm judging, that's the bit most people forget about, and they do half moons and wide turns and chicanes and then wonder where the points have gone. So if they ask me, I tell them that is part of the course.
I'm glad I don't run into you, Mike. Or if I do, I'll know what to do next.
Yeah. Just keep straight lines and read the rule book.
So Di Howells now, then he's just going to settle these sheep down. They work well around the course, but then when you've just got to be good to them, as you said earlier in this first shed, taking off 2 uncollared ewes.
I watch people when they're shedding, and Di, he faces them straight on, whereas some guys turn to the side and go hip first. Some people use the hand to get the space there to call the dog through. Some will poke with the stick. Everyone's got the little quirk how they like to do it. And I suppose it's whatever works for you, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Of course, all these guys will have been practicing before going to their nationals and before they go to trials, but then they'll definitely have been practicing with 5 sheep before they come to the international, so they'll have found their formula. He called the dog in very quick, and the dog came quick.
Yes. Probably not the cleanest shed, but he didn't have much option when one bolts and then another one goes with it. You've just got to take your look when you can, and they came. And Roy took it.
Yes, as we said earlier, Roy is 3.5 by David Howells' own nip, and Out of Jill, who's owned by Rhiannon Jones. David now has gone over to the pen. And those sheep will come in as straight as line as possible from that shedding ring straight towards him.
He's not lost much time either, has he? He's taking them round at a nice pace. So if he can box these quite quickly, he'll have plenty of time for the single.
When we were commentating this morning, we were saying that you've got to aim those sheep towards the hinges.
Yes, that's right. Heel of the gate. Aim for the heel.
And there's
Give them time. One will look and the others will follow. Very nice.
So another element completed there for David.
Yeah.
Nearly left one in the pen.
Just shows how settled she was. That she didn't panic.
He could have left her in there, called the dogs through and taken his shed outside the
Yes.
ring.
And got no points.
You'll be hoping now that she's as accommodating. She was a collared ewe. He'll be hoping for a collared ewe to pop to the outside that he can just make
Take
a gap
Ding out.
and take that single.
Because the collared, you can take one off the front or one off the back. In reality, there should be no penalty. The purist would like it taken on the nose end, but if she comes off the front, take your look, bring your dog in quickly, and leave the rest to the judges. There she is.
Pops her through.
And they've called it. It's another good score on the board.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how the